Amplified unit! Wake up! Get up! And get amplified! Redeem! Go! Clearly we are out in the world today, but there was no way my amplified unit was not gonna get a WWE Night 1 of the Draft review. Was this another one of those hocus pocus hoopla propaganda type of shows? Or was this a big event? Oh, we're gonna talk about it. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns face to face, and Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks in the main event. But for this cold open, I want to take it down a few notches, or several notches, as we talk a little bit of AEW Rampage. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because, yes, it was taped, but I still want to go over the results with you guys and discuss a little bit. But I understand, just like NXT, a lot of people are just not watching Rampage. And that's part of a bigger issue with AEW as a whole, because their Grand Slam event last week, night number 1, Dynamite with the Dream match, Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, in a pretty stacked mini pay-per-view card, everybody thought there was a good chance they would pull a 1.5. But Tony Khan and the boys thought for sure they were at least going to pull a 1.4, right? They've done that a couple of times in the past already. So obviously a New York City debut, a mini pay-per-view card, and a Dream match to boot. And the fact that they didn't pull a 1.5, they didn't even pull the 1.4, which was their bare minimum. They couldn't even pull a 1.3. And that's frustrating to BC and so many, because I feel that Tony Khan and AEW has earned the viewership of the community. And I'm big on earning it. I didn't even cover AEW from the jump because I told you guys front and center they need to earn my reviews. I'm not just going to review a show or a company because it's new or because the owner has $1 billion plus. You have to earn it, so I'm big on that, but I feel over time, especially in the last several months when Tony Khan showed you how far he's willing to go in signing new talent, investing, and giving you these matches in these cards, giving the fans exactly what they want. I feel the last several months especially, Tony Khan has earned our viewership, but the numbers tell a different story. Dynamite is just half of the equation. Rampage, when you look at the last 5 weeks since its debut, and you see that 5 weeks ago when it was under 725,000 in viewership, 722,000. And then the following week, it dropped to under 700,000. And then 3 weeks ago, it dropped to under 675,000. 2 weeks ago, it dipped under 650,000. And then last week, finally stayed somewhat steady, only dropping a few thousand. But the 4 weeks previous, it dropped 25,000 viewers every week in its first 5 weeks. It's dangerously low to that 600,000 mark. What can Tony Khan and AEW do to bring that number back up? I don't know, other than switching the night in the time slot. Because clearly your mini pay-per-view, Grand Slam night number 2, couldn't even pull in 750,000. Not even 7. Not even 650. So clearly we have a problem where wrestling fans don't want to watch wrestling at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. The only reason WWE Smackdown is able to break 2 million is because it's on network television, Fox. A lot of viewers are just leaving that shit on while they're drinking the booze, or having some sexy time, or brawling with their buddies. That's the damn truth. So I don't know what they could possibly do other than moving nights or moving a time slot. I didn't even care if you're coming on before Smackdown, man. You gotta believe that'll pull in bigger than or better than 650,000 viewers. But something has to change because the company is too good. The roster is too good. The talent is too good. These shows, these rampages are pretty fucking good. They're worth more than 6 or 650,000 viewers. Anyway, that's my rant on how the numbers just aren't there for AEW when I feel they have earned that viewership, and I feel these shows are pretty worthy of at least 750,000 on Rampage and at least a 1-4, which is what they've already got a couple times before for their Dynamite Wednesday night shows. Anyway, I digress. Last night, they put on a decent fucking show, starting with Bryan Danielson defeating Nick Jackson. Obviously the right move. You ain't gonna have Nick Jackson defeat Bryan Danielson, with Bryan Danielson just debuting a couple weeks ago and having his first match last week. So obviously this makes sense. But on top of that, I like how they're doing the Chris Jericho MJF type of story where Jericho had to go through many hoops, cross many boundaries, and pretty much hurdle over many obstacles just to get to MJF. Well, with this, you have Bryan Danielson going through the Elite to basically get to Kenny Omega. I like this. Do they bump Hangman Page, which was the original person to take the title from Omega? Do they bump him for Bryan Danielson? Because I'm telling you right now, this story will become bigger and brighter than anything Hangman and Omega once did. Or do they go with the original plan and Hangman wins this thing? And I don't know if that's going to move the needle. I don't know if that's going to bump the ratings more than Bryan Danielson. At some point, you got to start thinking business. I don't know. The community is split. It's got to be Hangman. It's got to be Danielson now. I feel bad for Christian, who was he probably was told when he came to AEW he was going to get the title. He had that face-to-face with Omega. The whole community it backfired on him. The community was pissed off. We love Christian, but he's got to work his way up. So that's what he started to do, and then all of a sudden, people just started to see him slowly get booted in the mid-card, and now he's playing around with the Jungle Boy and the Luchasaurus. So Christian, there's so much talent, man. When does CM Punk play the title game, man? How long do you have him going through the roster before it's obvious, hey, everyone got a chance but fucking the one guy who's pulling in the loudest responses, fucking CM Punk, who by then will be on such a winning streak. At some point, it's not going to be realistic that he's not getting a title opportunity. And if he does, do you have him not win the title? So you have all these fucking options, man. I guess that's a good problem to have. So far, Tony Khan has juggled his talent pretty damn good. I hope that continues. But Bryan Danielson with a win over Nick Jackson. Again, I say it's a big win because of what it leads to, the story behind it. And that's what is just as important as the performers putting on the match, the story that is being told. In pro wrestling, that is just as important. Also last night, what happened? Jade Cargill continues to move up the AEW ranks, man. Jade Cargill defeated Thunder Rosa and Nyla Rose, and I believe defeated Thunder Rosa was the one she actually defeated. So when you talk about giving her a little bit of a push, a little bit of a rocket, I would say just a little bit. That's an understatement. Jade fucking Cargill. Putting in the work, man. And I told you guys, man, I said from the jump she has a lot of work to do still. But over the last several weeks alone, she's putting in that work. She's not turning around and trying to flip off the critics and say, fuck that, I'll show you. No, she's just going to fucking do it. I got you. You think I should change this and that? How about now, motherfucker? And she changes it. And I'm like, damn, Jade Cargill's getting better and better. Still a little ways to go, no doubt. But on her, I said the same thing about Bianca Belair. When I said, all right, a little ways to go, a little way, and then all of a sudden she started fucking fast. She started getting it. She started getting better and better by the week, by the show, not a few months here and there. You know, we're like somebody like Dana Brooke, where like after several months, I was like, all right, she got a little better here. And then a few months later, I'm like, dude, she improved here. No, with Jade Cargill or somebody like Bianca, man, they get it by the show. They're learning this shit really fast. Surprised that they had Thunder Rosa take the ultimate L here, I should say, man. I thought Thunder Rosa would definitely get... I don't know, man. Thunder Rosa takes a Rampage L in a triple threat. That was interesting, but shows you the the stock they're putting into Jade Cargill. And that women's division needs a shot, man. It really does. It needs an ultimate push. They're going in the right direction. Britt Baker as the champion and the work she's been putting in, that is a great flag bearer right now for the women's division AEW. You bring in somebody like Ruby Soho when you already have somebody like Thunder Rosa, and you're building somebody up like Jade Cargill. I mean, now you're starting to see a division actually form. It's a far ways away from a full division that people can really get invested into. It's coming around, though, beautifully, I feel. But you still have a lot of talent that people are kind of weary on. And I'll bring you an example. How about last week's Rampage? You look at the highest rated segment, and obviously it's CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. And you look at the worst rated segment, where the viewers tuned out of the most. And it was obviously, I believe that was Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay. But I definitely know Anna Jay was in there. I think it was against Penelope Ford. Anyway, that was the least popular segment. I mean, that's where everybody kind of just went off the radar. And you have a lot of matches like that that are rated that way in AEW for the women's division. Once we can get that a little bit more steady and on track with the boys, then that division's really going to be on fire, man. But it's in the right direction. So, I just, seeing Thunder Rosa take the L there, man. Jade Cargill gets a huge push in that regard. Main event, you saw Orange Cassidy defeat Jack Evans. This was big, obviously, because Orange Cassidy gets to remind people that he's still on the fucking roster. I mean, this is a dude that months ago, I mean, this guy, you thought he was main event. I mean, he was in there with Chris Jericho, mimosa matches, or whatever the fuck. Orange Cassidy was the talk of the town, little kids dressing up like Orange Cassidy. And then in the last several months, he took a huge back seat. Now, I'm all for everybody getting a chance to shine and getting their main events and this and that. But, man, for Orange Cassidy to kind of drop that quickly, I felt Jungle Boy has been more relevant the last 2 to 3 months than Orange Cassidy. So anyway, it was good to see Orange Cassidy actually in a one-on-one match, in a main event nonetheless, and picking up a W. So that was Rampage, man. I thought a pretty fucking decent show. I'm sure the viewership will once again not touch 700,000. And that's sad, man. Because again, I feel Tony Khan and AEW has earned that viewership. But if people are just not into pro wrestling, or at least not into that type of wrestling, then that's on them, man. You know, you can't force somebody to do something. But I felt it was a decent show anyway. So for this cold open, I wanted to talk about Rampage, even though it was a taped show, and even though a lot of people like NXT just don't watch Rampage, I felt it needed some time on it. So that's your cold open, man. With that said, I'm going to down the rest of this fucking coffee, and we're going to talk some Smackdown Draft Night number 1. For October 1st, 2021. Already October, man. Damn! Time flies when you're having fun, like the AMP unit. Red team, let's go! Alright. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville start the show announcing that Roman Reigns is the first superstar drafted to SmackDown. They then announce that the Raw's first draft pick is going to be WWE Champion Big E. So nothing really changes here. At least not with the title holders, the top guys in each promotion, supposedly. They ain't moving anywhere. So right from the jump they're telling you, not much is gonna change. Or the more things change, the more they stay the same. There was no way Fox was letting go of The Rock's cousin, let's be honest. Charlie Flair is then sent to SmackDown, and Bianca Belair drafted to Monday Night Raw. So once again, we'll have the golden childs of VKM on the same brand, Charlie and Roman. At least Roman is pulling his best work of his career. But still, you know Fox is happier than a pig in shit to have Charlie Flair and Roman same brand. And as far as Charlotte going over to SmackDown, I mean, she just now automatically becomes the SmackDown Women's Champion, I guess. And you would think that Common sense would tell you that Becky Lynch would now be going over to Raw, but nothing ever makes sense in WWE. So now Becky Lynch just becomes the Raw champion? Are they going to unify the shit? I mean, you got to think, like, how do you address this in the history books, the record books, 30, 40, 70, 100 years from now, when you're going through the history books to see who was champion when and how they won the titles? How do you see Becky Lynch just become, overnight, the Raw to SmackDown, or SmackDown to Raw champion, and Charlotte becomes the Raw to SmackDown? That's gotta be a huge asterisk. Or you unify this shit at fucking Survivor Series. I don't fucking know, man. This just seems sloppy to me. And let's be honest, before I move on, Bianca is a huge addition for the Red brand. I just hope she's used correctly, and unfortunately, we have no evidence to believe that she will be. And that is damn unfortunate. This led into a damn good face-to-face segment between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Roman throws some blows at Brock, but Lesnar gains the upper hand and delivers 2 Suplex City, bitches. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay, then hit the ring. And this allows Roman to escape the lion's den, so to speak. Brock delivers an F5 to Jimmy, and then another F5 to Jay, as Roman is left pondering what the fuck he's gonna have to do at Crown Jewel to beat this alpha beast. Then the ultra beautiful Kayla Braxton interviews Charlie Flair next, and Charlie just tells Kayla to get some manners. It's journalism 101 to welcome somebody when they arrive to a brand like SmackDown and to congratulate her. She then says, of course, Fox wanted the Queen. Okay, moving the fuck on. It's clear we're gonna get the same fucking Charlotte on SmackDown. Nothing is gonna change with this fucking character. The same thing that is not connecting with a shit ton of your audience. Let's just keep going it. Let's just keep doing this and going with it on a different night. Sounds like a plan, Vince. Happy Corbin is out next, one-on-one with Kevin Owens. Riddick Moss was now going, I believe, as Madcap Moss. Anyway, Riddick Moss takes out Owens early as we go to a break. When we come back from break, it's more of the same. In fact, the 2-on-1 actually led to Owens losing 1, 2, 3 flat on his back looking up at the lights. Now, we know Owens' contract is up soon, but this looks like Vince McMahon is not even trying to re-sign him. This was a bad, quick loss that makes Owens look like an idiot, look like trash. And I don't care if Madcap Moss was involved or not, or a slight or even a major distraction. This is not how you book Kevin Owens, bro. And maybe this is Vince McMahon trying to save his own ass. Maybe he honestly thinks he's going to AEW for sure, and he doesn't want the same thing to happen that just happened to Adam Cole and Triple H, where Triple H made Adam Cole this major superstar in NXT, this headlining main eventer, champion. And then Adam Cole said, I'm out of here, baby! And maybe Vince is like, fuck! You just got tooled on, bro! No wonder you're having fucking heart procedures done and shit, man. Adam Cole just ripped your heart out. Of course, H doesn't have the fucking balls to tell Vince McMahon that it was you. He's afraid of what you're gonna do to him, buddy. But anyway, man, I'm sure they're scared shitless to book Kevin Owens properly and to give him W's and to make him look good. But still, I don't think this is gonna make him want to stay. Moving on, DeVille and Pierce then announced that Drew McIntyre, with his sword directly from Michonne from The Walking Dead. Drew and that damn sword, man. Medieval times. He can borrow Karrion Kross's medieval times helmet that he brings to the ring. Maybe not the leather suspenders, but maybe he'll let him borrow the mask, the fucking helmet. Anyway, DeVille and Pierce then announce that Drew McIntyre has been drafted to SmackDown, along with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Well, that's good. Can you finally separate them from Big E now? This is the same thing that happened when Kofi won his title, and they put him right back, even though he's supposed to have a singles push now. They put him right back with the New Day. It's comfortable. It makes us some money. Everybody giggles and laughs and dances with the New Day. Yes, but now we can't take Kofi seriously on his own. Big E wins the title, and what have they done ever since, guys? I've already done my research for you. Every fucking show, he's right there with the New Day. The rest of them, Xavier and Kofi. I mean, I'm thinking, you starting his championship run like this? So they split them up now. Big E's on Raw, and Xavier and Kofi go over to SmackDown, or so you think. I just saw an advertisement for New York. Maybe it was Long Island, I believe. But they're advertising Kofi, Xavier, and Big E all still together in six-man tags during these live events. So they're going to tour the world and let everybody know that Big E is still a New Day member. So don't think of him as just a sole champion. Think of him as the dancing, giggly, fun guy. He's going to throw pancakes with his trumpet buddies. Can't wait till Big E is just on his own, man. That's when we will truly see singles push Big E. With that world title anyway. Headed to Raw is going to be Edge, so that's a big name for Raw, man. I kind of feel bad for Edge. I think he knows what awaits him. I mean, oh, bro, I just can't even imagine, like, being drafted to Raw and thinking, fuck. Like, there is nothing good on this show. I'm either going to be that good, I'm going to have to be the only good on the show, or I'm just going to be like everything else and get absolutely trashed because I'm going to be given garbage. I mean, I can't even fathom being drafted to Raw. Anyway, Edge is going over to Raw, and RK Bro, which is Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, they're going to stay on Raw. So, okay. Thanks for announcing that. You know, half of this draft was just DeVille and Pierce announcing people staying exactly where they are. Well, shit! Just announce those names on the interweb machine. Just put that on WWE.com. Only announce people that are switching brands so it's newsworthy. Anyway, then we get an incredible segment next with Edge cutting a promo on Seth Rollins. Rollins shows up on the Tron. And by the way, man, I totally forgot to say this earlier. Michael Cole did say from the jump that these switches are going to take effect 3 weeks from that night. So basically, after Crown Jewel is when these changes are going to take effect and the draft kicks in. So these are the announcements. In 3 weeks, you're going to start seeing the draft actually... you're going to see the superstars where they belong, so to speak. So, and that's, of course, so they can keep building the crown jewel. I'm surprised they even said that. Usually Vince McMahon doesn't give a fuck if it makes sense or not. He'll make you switch, and he'll still fucking keep you switching brands and going to both shows and building a feud out of fucking thin air. So I'm surprised they even added that little caveat. Anyway, this incredible segment was Edge cutting a promo on Seth Rollins. Rollins shows up on the Tron, but he reveals that he's not in Baltimore, which is where Edge is and WWE was, man. No, as the camera pans out, we see he's actually at Edge's house. He walks in, Beth Phoenix and the kids are out grocery shopping, we would find out later. And grocery shopping at fucking 10 p.m.? I thought BC would be the only one doing something stupid like that. But it's actually smart, man. A lot less people shopping at 10. But all the good shit is gone. So that's why it's not so smart. If you don't like people, like BC, man, I'm not a huge people person. I usually like to see, when I meet new people, I like to put up to a brick wall. So I like to avoid fucking people for their own safety. But, yeah. You're not going to get a lot of the good shit if you go in. Now, anyway, Beth Phoenix is shopping. So some reason she left the fucking door open. Now, I understand, if you're a fucking badass and shit, man, why the fuck? Come on in! You're gonna get fucked up! But still, I mean, you know, you got two little fucking kids. Lock the door at least! You got one of those doors with the triple lock? Lock one of them, maybe! I don't know. Fucking Seth just walks the fuck in like it's his fucking house. And he walks in, he takes an apple and some orange juice. He's drinking the orange juice from the, Now the crowd, like, it's a mini pop for him walking into the house. The crowd's like, ooh, whoa, he's at Edge's house. Then he sits down on his furniture and he's like, ooh, you know, in the crowd. Then he eats the apple and the crowd's like, ooh, he's eating his apple. But when Seth Rollins drank the orange juice from the container, the crowd, you could audibly hear them go, oh, no. The crowd was against drinking from the fucking container, man. The crowd was like, you don't know who's been drinking from that shit. Anyway, BC got an LOL on that. And then Seth Rollins makes fun of Edge's daughter's artwork that was put up on like some shelving or something. The kids make some art at school. They bring it home to the parents. You know how it is. The parents are like, what the fuck is this? This is the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen. Aside from Hell in a Cell a few years ago. Or the finish to Extreme Rules this year. But that's some ugly shit. But as a parent, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Pin it up, so now you have all this ugly artwork all over your house. Well, Seth Rollins, I love this man. He just called it out. He's like, whoa, that is rotten. That is not good. He said if there's one thing we learned, it's that Edge's kids do not have a career in art. That was awesome, bro. He then goes into the study area where he starts a fireplace. He starts pushing buttons on a remote and it starts a fireplace. And he's all sprawled out on like this long love seat. And he's sprawling out and he's twisted and turning. And he's like, I could stay here all night. Edge, you're a lucky man, he says. And we cut to Edge, who's backstage at this point, man. He already left the ring, and he's frantically on the phone trying to get a hold of Beth Phoenix. He tells Phoenix not to go back home. He's got his boys going over there now to take care of Rollins. And Edge is like, I don't care about the groceries. Just don't go home right now. I love it. Beth is like, but I just got the tuna. I just got the mushrooms and peppers. They gotta get into the fridge. I just got the mozzarella cheese. What am I supposed to do with the mozzarella cheese? I just like, I don't care about the mozzarella cheese. Anyway. Just great stuff, man. I love when they step away from the ring and tell a story with some effort and creativity, man. You don't gotta move mountains. Just do something like this. It's fun, you know? Helps tell the fucking story, dude. And Edge is the perfect dude now to fucking absolutely rip Seth Rollins apart, brah. Liv Morgan versus Carmella. This is a rematch from Extreme Rules, but that was put on the pre-show, so a lot of people didn't even see that. And they weren't going to get much here either. This wasn't even a match. Liv throws a jab at Mella's face. Mella crawls out of the ring, grabs a mic, and says, "You bitch!" And then she proceeds to put this hideous fucking mask on. Gets back in the ring and kicks Morgan in the face. And that was the end of a segment. A 90-second segment. I don't know what the fuck Morgan was thinking. She just let Mella get in, kick her in the face, and the segment was over. We go right back into the fucking draft. This was so awkward, man. I just don't know what they were thinking. It's almost like they had 90 seconds to fill, and they just fucking brought these two out. If you're going to use them like that, don't use them at all then. I mean, damn, that did not make anybody look good, and I don't know what the fuck Carmella was wearing. More drafts are announced. Staying on Raw is Keith. Oh, man. The fucking Bearcat, guys. Keith Bearcat Lee. He's going to stay on Raw. Okay. Thanks for telling us that. Almost a Superhero and Rhea Ripley. They're going to stay on Raw. Again, thank you for telling us that. What the fuck? And then get this, staying on SmackDown. Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. So not much of a shakeup in that round. Or any of these rounds. The only notable selection in this round was NXT's Hit Row that's headed to SmackDown. They were just starting to get their footing in NXT, though. They were just starting to get their footing in NXT. I mean, this is way too early for Hit Row, man. Let them really get their act in order. This is not going to benefit anybody. So odd to me, man. I don't know what the fuck that whole round was. This was just a round of just telling us that everybody is basically staying exactly where they are. And SmackDown's going to go to a group that is not ready to go into SmackDown yet. Because I'm already viewing how they're going to be booked. That's why. I mean, they could fucking swim and not sink, but the way WWE's, they're going to have them sinking and not swimming in the first fucking month. We move on. 8-man schmaz is next. New Day and Street Profits versus Otis, Gable, Ziggler, and Rude. I don't cover schmaz matches. You guys know that. It's lazy booking, and I care literally about nothing when I watch a schmaz match. New Day and Profits win. New Day and Profits celebrate. Woohoo! Exhilarating. More drafts, guys. Here we go. Rey Mysterio and Dominic are going to Raw. Okay, so somebody's moving somewhere finally. Why is Dominic going too? Like they're an actual tag team. Or is it fucking bring your son to work day every day at WWE? Isn't Dominic Mysterio his own dude? Or are they just looked at as a tag team now? Because they literally said, heading to Raw, Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic. That's how it was announced. So poor Dominic cannot get out of Rey's shadow. Literally and figuratively. Also, Austin Theory of NXT is going to SmackDown. Well, we saw Austin Theory on the main roster before and it didn't work. Austin Theory has a lot of attributes. It checks off a lot of boxes. That personality better be better than when it was last there. Because if this dude wants to be another John Cena, he's a far ways away from that. I need more personality from Austin Theory to give a fuck about Austin Theory. Jeff Hardy and Naomi are going to... No. What was it? Jeff Hardy is going to Raw, I believe. So Jeff Hardy is over to Monday Night Raw. Okay, that could be a little... no. No, Hardy's going to SmackDown. Where the fuck is Jeff Hardy going? Rey and Dominic to Raw. Also Austin Theory to Raw. Oh, so Austin Theory is Raw. Jeff Hardy's going to Smack... That's how irrelevant Jeff Hardy was, guys. I don't even know what brand this dude is on. Because 1 week he's chasing the 24/7 title. Do you guys remember that? It was a month ago, if even. And then 2 weeks later, he's going for the United States Championship. When he lost the number one contenders match to fucking Damian Priest. And then 1 week later, he gets to beat Sheamus to get back in the match. So maybe because his booking is so fucking irrelevant, I don't even think of this guy anymore. And that's sad because I have such respect for Jeff Hardy. So anyway, Hardy's going to SmackDown now that we got that cleared up. And Naomi is staying on SmackDown. Obviously that means Jimmy and Jay will stay there as well. That's going to be part of a storyline. I'll go over that in a minute. But I never saw Naomi leaving SmackDown. She's going to stick, obviously, with literally the bloodline. Good backstage segment next with Brock announcing that he's a free agent thanks to his good friend Paul Heyman. We cut to Roman's locker room where the Usos are seated next to Roman contemplating what they just heard from Brock. Heyman is basically in tears. Roman tells Paul to go to Raw and make sure his cousins Jimmy and Jay get drafted to SmackDown. And then he tells Jimmy and Jay to go with him. And if it doesn't happen, leave Paul for dead on Raw. So they're teasing something big, some big rift between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. Because Roman still doesn't trust that Paul doesn't know what the fuck Brock is doing there, man. It's an intriguing, interesting fucking story developing there, man. This is the most... We've seen a lot of matches with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. This is the one time I can remember giving a fuck about it, though. You know, I feel like right now everyone's in the perfect role and everybody's used correctly and we actually have a fun storyline going. So for the first fucking time, for this you had to move mountains and we finally did. They're telling a good story between these two. So we'll see what happens Monday there, man. Main event was Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. These are my gals, man. I love Sasha Banks. I love Bianca Belair. I think they are two of the most talented females in the world. Sasha Banks is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Bianca Belair, one of the strongest fucking females I've ever seen in the same league. Not quite as, but league as like a fucking China. And I get to see these beautiful, and I mean ultra beautiful. I said that about Kayla Braxton earlier, I know. But I mean, this is just fucking ultra beautiful Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. They're so fucking pretty. Nothing to do with wrestling, but they're just beautiful. They got this main event that was supposed to be the rematch at SummerSlam, never happened, so we're going to get it here on draft night. Big Time Bex is on commentary. And she would get involved pulling Belair's hair at the end of this thing, literally down to the canvas, and it's long enough to reach. So Belair is kind of bent over through the rope, and this allows Sasha Banks to hit the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating fruit roll-up. That's right, Sasha. She has learned while she was away. She doesn't need the bank statement or any of that, man. If you want to score W's in WWE, if you want to do a move that nobody can kick out of, you hit that awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating fruit roll-up. It ain't nobody kicking out of that. Not even the strongest woman in WWE, Bianca Belair. She cannot kick out of a fruit roll-up. Yeah, doesn't make sense. I'm not going to bitch too much here because no matter who wins, man, it's deserving, obviously, and I love that person. And Sasha wins, obviously it's realistic and believable. I just hate the way that she won this son of a bitch. And I know she won it like a heel, right, with the fruit roll-up. But I mean, who's the heel anymore? I don't even know, man. Is Sasha Sasha is obviously supposed to be more of a heel when she's in there with Bianca. I totally get that. But then you have something like what happened post-match when Charlie Flair hits the ring and takes out both Sasha and Belair. So then the show ends with Charlie Flair middle of the ring hoisting up her Raw Women's title and Big Time Bex standing tall on top of the commentary table holding her SmackDown Women's title up high. So you have heel Big Time Bex on the commentary table, you got heel Charlotte Flair middle of the ring, and you got the one playing more of the heel against Belair and Sasha Banks. I don't fucking know what they're doing. And now we have two of these champions switching brands, so in effect switching championships. This company, bro. This company will give you more of a fucking headache after you're done watching it than any pleasure. I'm telling you right now, man. You'll leave confused and befuddled, not in a good way. I mean, the decisions this company makes, bro. All in all, not a fucking terrible show. I mean, I'm hard-pressed to say it was good, but we did have good, man. I mean, the main event, Sasha and Belair, it was a good match, obviously. Finish left more to be desired, but a good match. We had a good face-to-face with Brock and Roman, I felt, and we're continuing that story in the right way. And I love the segment with Edge and Seth Rollins. So there was good on this, man. As far as being a draft show, and as far as a lot of newsworthy topics coming out of the draft, and the draft being fun, and being something that we're all talking about the next day, no. This is exactly what we thought it was going to be. Dipshit Dugenheimer and fucking receptionist Rebecca, basically. You had fucking Pierce out there with Sonya Deville, and they're just announcing random names. Most of the names they announced last night are people staying exactly where they already are. I mean, that was most of the fucking night. Nothing we couldn't have just read on fucking line at WWE.com. That's literally nothing. There's nothing memorable even from the fucking draft names, man. Nothing is making me go, oh man, Raw just got so much better. SmackDown just got so much better. I can't wait to see these. No, nothing. Literally. If it did for you, awesome. Man, my standards are just way too fucking high for that, dude. You know what I mean? You pumped up this whole fucking draft. You better have a damn good fucking show draft coming up. Anyway, Ant-Man, I gotta go whoop the world's ass with the rest of the day. You guys whoop the weekend's ass, and we'll do this again in the very near future. Much love and respect. Let's whoop that ass amplified style. Think, be, live, amplified. Check your leader. Red team go!